Good morning, kiddos. Happy Monday. This is the time of the day when you'd be coming into Parker River and settling in, saying good morning to Miss Pam and I, putting your rock in the basket, and putting your picture on the question of the day. My thought was maybe you guys could have Mom and Dad send me some of your ideas for some good questions of the day when we return to school. We're always open to some new fun ideas. Miss Sandy sent a note to the teachers this weekend saying that the peepers are out at the pond behind the school, and those are the teeny tiny little frogs that sound like birds. I'm excited to go explore the pond with you when we return to Parker River, see if we can see some of those tiny little frogs. I have a friend behind me today. That's my rascal. He's a good buddy. I thought today I'd share with you one of my favorite books called Petunia by Roger Duvoisin. My own children loved this book growing up. It's one of my favorites, and I don't think I've shared it with you yet at school, so I'm excited to share it today. In the meadow, early one morning, Petunia the silly goose went strolling. She ate a bug here, clipped off a clover leaf there, and she picked at the dewdrops on the goldenrod leaves. Then suddenly she saw something she'd never seen before in the meadow. What was it? Petunia stole closer and closer and sniffed at it from all sides. By goosey gander, she said, it does not smell like food for a goose, but I believe I have seen such a thing before. Yes, I have seen one under Bill's arm when he came out of school. It's a book. That's it, a book. Come to think of it, just the other day I heard Mr. Pumpkin telling Bill that books are very precious. He who owns books and loves them is wise. That is what he said. He who owns books and loves them is wise, repeated Petunia to herself, and she thought as hard and as long as she could. Well then, she said at last, if I take this book with me and I love it, I will be wise too, and no one will call me a silly goose ever again. So Petunia picked up the book and off she went with it. She slept with it, she swam with it, and knowing that she was so wise, Petunia also became proud, and prouder, so proud that her neck stretched out several notches. It was King the Rooster who first noticed the change in Petunia. He said, maybe Petunia is not so silly after all. She has a book, and she looks so wise that she must be so. When the other animals began to believe in Petunia's wisdom too, they asked her for advice and opinions, and Petunia was glad to help, even when she was not asked. Petunia grew still prouder, and her neck stretched out another notch. One day Petunia heard Clover the cow say to King the Rooster, I wonder what makes your comb so red, King, as red as the barn. It's my blood, said King. It's the color of my blood. Nonsense, said Clover. I have blood too, but I'm not a red cow. Your comb has been dipped in red barn paint. That's what makes it so red. You are both silly, of course, said Petunia. King, your comb was stuck on by the farmer so he can tell you from the hens and know who lays eggs and who doesn't. It's a plastic comb, I'd say. And so King never again shook his proud comb and song for fear it might fall off. Poor, sad rooster. But Petunia had other things to do. At the chicken coop, Ida the hen was cackling excitedly among her chicks. Oh, Petunia, she said, my chicks and I have been for a walk in the woods, and I think I've lost some of them. The farmer says I had 9, but I can't count so very well. Please, wise Petunia, count my chicks to see if they're all here. Glad to help, said Petunia. Let's see, 3 chicks at the fountain, 3 at the feeder, 3 about your legs. Now 3 times 6, 3 times 3, that makes 6. 6? Asked Ida. 6? Is that less than 9? That's more than 9, not less, said Petunia. Lots more, my dear. More than 9? Good gracious, as if I hadn't had enough worries with my own 9 chicks. And where do those other chicks come from? Oh dear, I'll never be happy again. Poor, worried Ida. But Petunia had other things to do. In the meadow she discovered part of Noisy the dog sticking out of a hole in the ground. Help, help, cried Noisy. I stuck my head in this rabbit hole and now it won't come out. Help! Glad to help, said Petunia. It's a good thing, I know. what hunters do to get stubborn animals out of holes in the ground. They smoke them out. Wait until I fetch some sticks and some matches. And so wise Petunia built a fire in the other end of the hole and fanned it well with the book. Her trick worked nicely. Noisy, choking with smoke, jerked his head out of the hole and ran off howling with pain. His nose was singed with the fire and his ears were cut and bruised. Poor moaning dog. But Petunia had other things to do. Beside the hedgerow she met Straw the horse, who was in pain from a toothache. Petunia, groaned Straw, I'm dying. Surely with your wisdom you can stop this horrible pain. Glad to help, said Petunia. Open your mouth. Why, poor Straw, all these teeth, no wonder you have a toothache. Look at me. Do I have teeth? Of course not. So I have no toothache. I'm going to stop all that pain right now. I'm going to pull all those teeth out, all of them. Let me get some pliers. But Straw would not wait for the pliers. He was so afraid to lose his teeth he never talked of his toothache to another soul. He suffered in silence. Poor forlorn horse. But Petunia had other things to do. Cotton the kitten went up the tree but could not come down. While he meowed and meowed, his friends called for Petunia. Glad to help, said Petunia. I know just what to do. Since none of you is tall enough to reach Cotton, all of you will do it together. Donkey on top of Clover, Pig on top of Donkey, and so on up. Simple. So Donkey climbed on top of Clover, Pig on top of Donkey, Goat on top of Pig, Sheep on top of Goat, Piggy on top of Sheep, Turkey on top of Piggy, Duck on top of Turkey, Hen on top of Duck. Suddenly Clover cried out, Stop, my legs feel wobbly, and she sat. And Donkey and the rest fell into a heap, and Cotton was so scared that he fell on top of them. They were all full of bumps. Well, said Petunia, Cotton is down. So he was, poor bruised kitten. But Petunia had other things to do. Getting prouder all the time, she felt her neck stretch further out. She now wandered down the meadow where she found some other friends gathered around a box. Ah, wise Petunia, they shouted, we found this box in the ditch beside the road. Maybe it's food, Petunia. Please tell us what the writing on it says. Glad to help, said Petunia. Now let's see why. Candies, that's what it says on that box. Yes, candies. You may eat them, of course. Do you think it says candies? No sooner had Petunia given the word that 7 greedy mouths tore up the box and grabbed the candies out of it. And boom! Not candies. What a sight the animals were. Some were burned, some were bruised. Straw still suffered in silence. Noisy still moaned. Ida still worried about her chicks. King still brooded over his comb. All the barnyard was in trouble, and all because of Petunia. Petunia's pride and wisdom had exploded with the firecrackers. Her neck had shrunk back to its old size and was all bandaged up. She was the most downhearted of all, for she saw now that she was not a bit wise. But suddenly Petunia spied the book. The firecrackers had blown it open so the pages showed. She had never seen them before. Now she saw that there was something written inside the book which she could not read. So she sat down and thought until at last she sighed, Now I understand. It was not enough to carry wisdom under my wing. I must put it in my mind and in my heart, and to do that I must learn to read. Petunia was filled with joy. At once she began to work so that one day she could be truly wise, and then she would help her make her friends happy. I hope you enjoyed this story today. I enjoyed reading it to you. I'll try to log in tomorrow with another book, but until then, go out and enjoy this beautiful spring weather. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys very, very soon. Oh, and Rascal does too. Bye, guys.